the LA Weekly, which had been founded in 1978, the founding editor was more or less kicked upstairs by his fellow board members, and a new editor who had been the deputy editor at the Village Voice came in, a guy named Kit Rackless, and he hired me as the essentially the political editor. My nominal title was executive editor of the LA Weekly, which was a position I was in from 1989 to 2001. And
it's a good long run.
It's a long run, and it was a total privilege to be covering LA at that time, because LA was really beginning to go through this immense demographic and economic and political transformation. And frankly, if I may say this, the Times was slow to pick up on it, and we weren't. The city, this massive wave of immigration from Mexico, Central America, began surging here in the mid-'80s. The city was being transformed in ways in which people, first of all, in the outlying areas, were slow to even see. LA is a city that in many ways is so spread out and so disconnected that it's a city in some ways that's invisible to itself, and this was one of the challenges we tried to undertake at the LA Weekly. Our readership at the Weekly was always sort of, presumably, this hipper, urban, at that point West Side, and then, Silver Lake, Echo Park, whatever, readership. And we wanted to tell them, hey, there's a new city borning here. I remember different ways we tried to illustrate that. Sometimes it took, sometimes just sheer fun ways of doing it. I remember when Aaron Spelling built his mansion in Holmby Hills, which it was huge, I don't know, like 56,000 square feet, 70,000, something like that. And it was right after the 1990 census report had come out, which, and you could go through there and figure out like what the most densely populated areas of LA were. And the most densely populated areas of LA was the areas immediately surrounding MacArthur Park in downtown LA, where you had some apartment buildings going up 5, 6, 7 stories, no more than that. But huge immigrant population just packed into these apartments, lots of single men, sharing rooms with 6 other single men, so we got an aerial photo of the Spelling Mansion, and just very good, terrific photographer for the Weekly, Ted Soke, was taking pictures of just sort of the bustle in this area. We calculated how many people at that level of density, for a whole square mile, let's say, would fit into Aaron Spelling's new 56,000 square foot house. I think it was just under 500, as I recall. And that doesn't mean density in a building, which would be much closer, but just spread out over the square mile, even at that level of density, that's how many people could live in Aaron Spelling's house. So fun stuff like that.